Hey everybody, how's it going? So last week we worked on this fender. I showed you how I shrunk the metal, and then we went ahead and got it prepped, epoxied, and then we skim coated the lower section of this fender. So it's been a few days since I've done that, so I'm gonna go ahead, put some guide coat on it, block it, and let's see how that actually turned out. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and guide coat it again. I'm gonna be using the Merca Dry guide coat. So get a little bit on here. Just kind of wipe the area real good, just to give a good base layer so we can see how it's sanding off. And as you're seeing, it will help us see the low spots that we have left. It's a good workout too. So if you're looking for something to spice up your workout routine, try sanding some filler. Whew. We're getting really close. You start to see the thin spots we're fixing to cut through, which is okay. Man, it does feel good though. So this edge right here could use just a very thin skim right there. And I believe the rest of it's actually really good. So if you look, bring a little closer here. If you look, you can see these bright dots. So this is the little small pits that the stud welder left. So that's why when I first wiped it, I was just kind of globbing it in places and pushing, trying to get all the air out of those pits so that they had a good bond. All right, so I think that's where we're gonna call it good. Again, I want to go ahead and lightly skim this area here just to kind of give it just a tiny bit because it's just a little bit in. All right, so I went ahead and got this area here sanded, and it looks a lot better. There's still a little bit low right on the very edge, but primer will take care of that. So now that this whole area here is in good shape, I went ahead and I've been going through and trying to scuff up my edges and things, getting ready for primer surfacer. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going, try to get this one ready to go, get it cleaned up, and put some epoxy in the bare metal, and they'll be almost ready for primer. So let's get to it. Alright, so when it comes to grease and wax remover, there's water-based, there's solvent-based. The type that I use is actually a shop line. It does good for me. I've never had any trouble with it. I mean, there's a bunch of different ones out there. Something to consider though, there's different ways to do it. You definitely want to make sure that the surface is dry before you spray or, apply any product over it. There's different ways you can apply it. The spray bottle to me does work really good. One thing to think about though, I always did it a different way until recently I learned another way. So a buddy of mine got back from a school for painting and was telling me how they had taught them to grease and wax. So as you can see where it's got dust and things on it, but you notice it still looks wet. So what he told me was, instead of just wiping it off and letting it air dry, that paint school recommended that you keep going over it with clean towels until your rag is clean and until the panel looks dry. So by the time you get it to where it looks clean, there's still a little bit left, you just keep going, and once it looks clean, not only is your surface dry, but you'll hardly have any kind of dust or contaminants on the panel because you basically wiped every bit off. You almost basically scrubbed it off. One thing to remember when you use one of the stud welders for welding pins or shrinking metal, that you do heat the backside of the panel up, so you need to make sure that you use the proper kind of protection for the metal. If not, you could have rust problems later on down the road, so just keep that in mind.